All right, what's going on, guys? Super excited. We have our Thursday live. I'm a little bit late. I apologize. And I don't even think I went live on Tuesday. So I apologize about that. We have some extra kiddos at our house today. So if you hear that, that's what that is. But if you're watching live, do hashtag live in the comments. If you're watching it on replay, hashtag replay just helps it get to more people in the group. More people use it, more people benefit from it, and we can all learn and grow together, which is pretty cool. Today, we're going to be talking about kind of 5 habits to kick or to work on cutting out so that you can see some transformative success with your health and your fitness. So let's dive right in. If you're new here, my name is Connor Hansen. I'm an online health and wellness coach. I help parents get into amazing shape while still having time for their family and still enjoying the foods that they love. And as a bonus, I teach you how to maintain those results indefinitely, because I feel you should only have to get fit once. So let's kind of dive into it here. Habit number 1. And I found this to be slightly more common with females, I think, just because of the narrative that is around health and fitness with women, right? It's a lot more based on the scale, which is unfortunate. And so the first habit would be kind of breaking up with the scale. Stop measuring yourself every day, especially if that causes you some emotional or mental distress, right? So it's easy to think, oh, well, I'm just getting the information, but subconsciously, a lot of times it can run into the rest of our day, can be dictated on what we saw on the scale earlier that day, right? And honestly, your weight won't change too much from day to day. Your total body fat percentage won't change so much day to day. Your weight will fluctuate depending on how much water you've had, how much sodium you've consumed, how good your sleep was, if you exercised the previous day, right? There's a lot of factors that go into weight. And it's true, it can be a great tool to see if what you're doing is working or needs to be adjusted or something like that. But it's just one of many tools that you can use. And so not putting so much stock within the scale is very important, and using other measurements to see if what you're doing is working, such as progress photos are really, really big. How your clothes are fitting is huge. How your digestive system is working is big. The energy that you have throughout the day. Those are also very indicative on if what you're doing is working, right? The scale is just one tool of many to use to measure success of any given, program. So if you are a constant scale watcher, right, really working on that relationship and making sure that you are actually just using it as data and recognizing that it will go up and down, but that your overall, when you zoom out, should be going in the direction that you want it to. And so, but not putting too much stock in the day-to-day fluctuations, because like I said, there's a lot of things that influence it. And something that you can do is, if you are a daily scale individual, taking your week as a whole and kind of averaging it out and looking at it that way, instead of doing it every single day and having, so much stock be put into it on a daily. So that's big. So kind of breaking up with the scale results and using other data measurements in addition to it, right? Not having that be the sole. The other thing is a habit that could be holding you back from seeing success is going to be drinking your calories. I've done other videos about hidden calories before, and I think it's something that's really important, because calories are just a unit of energy, right? It's a measurement of energy, and we want our calories to help us feel full, right? Because if you have a weight loss goal, you have a allotted number of calories to help you lose weight. And if you are spending some of those as liquid calories get digested very quickly. They don't help you feel full or satiated or really give you that much energy. They might give you a big spike of energy and then it's gone pretty quick. And so making sure that you're not drinking your calories, because that's just a total waste, right? And especially nowadays, there's so many 0-calorie beverages. and 0-calorie sweeteners, which I am all about. They've actually done studies where they took 2 groups of individuals that were chronic soda drinkers, and they split them into 2 groups. One could have 0-calorie beverages and the other one could drink just plain water. And then they measured their weight loss success at the end of I want to say it was 6 weeks. I'll have to go back and look at the study, but they measured their success, and the individuals that could drink flavored drinks that were just 0-calorie lost way more weight compared to the individuals that went with just water. And that's because they used to be chronic soda drinkers. And so they wanted that flavor, that taste. And when they could go to the 0-calorie, they were less likely to search for that kind of trigger through food compared to the water group, right? The water group could only drink water. So therefore they wanted that sweetness. They went to something that had more calories. And so swapping out, there's so many other options like the 0-calorie beverages. Same thing with like sauces and things to make your food taste better, seasonings and sauces. There's so many like 0-calorie things that you can really enjoy without having any additional calories that go along with it. So that's number 2. Number 3 is letting go of guilt. And by that, I mean, a lot of times we miss workouts, right? A lot of times we don't eat the way that we want to, right? We have goals, but a lot of times we're human, especially if you're a parent. Each kid is a different kind of cog in the overall, functional wheel. And each one is a variable, right? The more kids you have, the more variable your life is to a certain extent. And so there's going to be days that you crush it and you're on point and things are awesome. And then there are going to be days where you're not crushing it and things are not on point and things are not awesome. And if you add on top of that feeling guilty, then that is called the feedback loop from hell, and you should get out of it. And the best way to get out of it, and this kind of leads into the next one, is by not overcompensating, right? The next one is avoiding overcompensation, where like you miss a workout and then the next day you go like 3 times as hard, or you overconsumed one day and then the next day you starve yourself, right? The best way to let go of guilt is to just recognize, okay, I'm human. I'm not where I want to be quite yet, but I'm working on it, right? We have these sentences that we tell ourselves consistently. And something that can be very freeing is, let's say you have a goal of losing 20 pounds. And, you hold yourself to that goal and you say, okay, I haven't lost 20 pounds. And it's this negative, constantly, heavy on you type of a thing. But instead of changing that thought to something totally radically different, sometimes that's too big of a jump. What you can do instead is just add, okay, I'm not at 20 pounds, add yet, comma, and that's okay. So I haven't achieved my goal yet, and that's okay. And that does a couple things. It gives you permission to take a big deep breath and recognize that you are working towards that, and that you will accomplish it sometime in the future, but that it doesn't have to be exactly right now. Because if it had to be exactly right now and you're not there, then you're feeling negative and it's this terrible thing. But if you recognize that you're on the path towards that goal, right, that helps you kind of let go of that guilt. So the first one is kind of breaking up the scale. Second one is not drinking your calories or, adding a bunch of sauces to things, because those things can creep in really quickly. The third one is kind of letting go of that guilt, adding yet, and that's okay. And then the fourth one is avoiding that overcompensation, or like I said, when you overconsume one day and then the next day you starve yourself, because then usually your workouts suffer. Usually the next day you feel like crap, and it's just this really negative thing, right? You don't want to starve your body of good nutrients because you overconsumed on some of the bad stuff, right? Or some of the more, I shouldn't say bad stuff because I don't believe there's good or bad foods. It's just nutrient dense versus calorie dense, right? If you overconsumed on the calorie dense stuff, you don't want to deprive your body of the nutrient dense stuff the next day. So best thing that you can do is to just kind of get back on plan and start eating to fuel your body versus the foggy or binge style that I've talked about in the past, or the craze style. And that goes for workouts as well. Like if you missed a workout one day, the next time you work out, you shouldn't go, okay, now I have to work out for 3 hours or something intense like that, because you're not going to be, it's going to be that negative feedback loop, right? And then you have that kind of further risk of, okay, if you went crazy hard on this day because you skipped the previous day, well, now you're going to be down and out for 2 or 3 more days, or, you're really, really sore, you really hurt yourself or something like that. Instead of just getting back on plan and continuing the process, there's no need to overcompensate, because you recognize that it's a process. And the fifth one, this is a little bit more practical and helps in a lot of different ways too, is reducing the amount that you eat out. Because this is good for a couple of reasons. One, save you money, especially in this economy with inflation being unreal. Funny tangent. Legend was awesome and helped clean and did a bunch of stuff. And so we took him to Wendy's. I haven't been to Wendy's, especially inside, in a while. And they had their menu board. And on their menu board, they had the $5 biggie bag. And, it used to be the $5 biggie bag, but now it's the $6 biggie bag. But what's funny is they just plopped the 6 over the 5. And so you could kind of see that it used to be a $5 biggie bag, and now it's a $6 biggie bag. And I brought that up to the cashier. He's just, this high school kid. And I was like, did it used to be $5? And he laughs. He's like, yeah. And I was like, man, inflation. But anyway, so it saves you money, right? But not eating out. But the other thing is, especially when you're trying to eat on plan, eating out, even if you plan accordingly, which is great. I think that you can totally eat out and enjoy yourself, right? On occasion. But if you're doing it consistently, it's really hard to get the protein and the nutrients that your body needs, while continuing to eat out, consistently. Every so often, I think that's great. I think you should plan that. I think it's imperative and really, really important. But especially when it's kind of like on the go, it's tough to know what they cook it in and everything. Brooke used to work at Texas Roadhouse. Amazing place. Love it. Most delicious rolls and cinnamon butter or whatever the heck that is. It's so good. But people would come in and they would order, the broccoli or the steamed vegetables or, things like that. And Brooke was like, well, yeah, but they still cook them in butter, or they soaked them in butter, or they soaked them in different things. And so like you go in thinking that you're getting a healthier option or a more nutrient dense option. Little do you know it has so many additional calories with it. And butter, I love butter. Bread and butter, it literally is my bread and butter. It's one of my favorite things to eat on the planet. But a little bit of butter in terms of calories goes a long way. And for example, and if we're talking about number 2, which is drinking calories or kind of having those hidden calories, I make an egg sandwich on some sourdough. It's delicious. But if you add the butter to that, it almost like doubles the calories of that sandwich because of the butter, and it doesn't add any additional like fullness to it, it doesn't help me be more full because of the butter. It just, tastes better. But that's kind of the point that I want to make, is that by eating out, you don't know exactly what they're cooking it in. So you may think that you're eating perfectly to plan, but because they're cooking it in different oils or butter or, adding things to it, you really don't know. And those little hidden calories can add up like tremendously. Another little tidbit on the hidden calories is, if you guys have ever been to Chick-fil-A and their Polynesian sauce, delicious. But I don't know about you, but when I eat their Polynesian sauce, the chicken nugget is pretty much just the means to get the Polynesian sauce inside my body. And just take a gander. Next time you're there, just take a gander of how much one of those packets is. Not demonizing it, not saying that it's bad. I personally love it. But just being aware of the food that you're consuming makes a huge deal, especially when you have goals that you're actively trying to work towards. So there's some things to think about. Breaking up with the scale, drinking your calories or hidden calories, letting go of the guilt if you do miss a workout, especially if you're a parent and you're dealing with life and things like that, right? Or you're working, right? Life gets intense sometimes. Fourth, avoiding overcompensation for those times where maybe we fall slightly short. And then the last one is kind of reducing eating out or making sure that you know what you're eating, right? You're eating with a purpose. So let me know if you guys have any questions on that. Once again, if you're here live, do hashtag live. If you are on replay, hashtag replay, just helps that good old algorithm get to more people. And if you have any questions, throw them in there, as well as like, oh, I would love to have you do a live on XYZ, or what are your thoughts on this thing? Throw those in there as well. Just that way, because I have what I think is cool, but you guys might think a totally different thing. So hope you guys have a fantastic Thursday, and I will check you guys in the next video.